Welcome to Up to Speed, Baker Tilly's Automotive Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Mike.mader, the dealership industry leader for Baker Tilly. Up to Speed serves as the automotive industry's connecting point to hear about conversations from industry leaders regarding topics pertaining to tax, accounting, and operations of retail dealerships. We arrive in your mailbox the third Wednesday of every month. If you would like to listen to or view past episodes of Up to Speed, you can find them on our website at bakertilly.com/dealerships, and we will soon be on YouTube. So Amazon seems to be a token of every home these days. Whether you're looking to feed your pets or purchase the amazing gift for your special person in your life, Amazon seems to be where most people go first these days. With the variety of goods available and the speediness of delivery, Amazon makes shopping easy and consumer friendly. And that is exactly what the automotive industry is trying to do. Make the buying experience easy, friendly, and quick. Well, here comes Amazon Autos in partnership with OEMs and dealerships to make the auto buying experience on an Amazon-friendly experience. With me today is Fan Jin, who leads Amazon Autos globally. Fan joined Amazon in 2010 and prior to Amazon Autos held leadership positions in Amazon's advertising, consumer electronics, and hardlines retail businesses with responsibilities in product management, marketing, and category management. Fan holds a Master's of Business Administration degree from MIT and a Bachelor of Science and Engineering degree from Princeton University. As luck would have it, her first job in college was helping dealerships in the DC area post advertisements online. Fan, it's a pleasure to have you on this month's episode of Up to Speed.
Thanks for having me, Mike. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for that generous introduction. I think you're exactly right. Amazon Autos is here to help bring transparency and convenience to the automotive shopping journey. We want to do that in partnership with dealers. We know that dealers want that as well for their customers, and it's something we can do together.
Oh, great. So on today's episode, we're going to discuss how Amazon got into the retail automotive space, the customer journey, and how Amazon plans to work with dealers to provide another avenue for dealers to attract and retain customers in the retail automotive space. Fan, I was invited to meet with Amazon Autos at NADA in New Orleans and was very intrigued with your plan to work with dealers and give them as much control as possible over the customer buying experience while still maintaining the Amazon buying experience. There were and still are many dealers very weary of working with Amazon in this space, and I hope our discussion today is going to clear up some of those misconceptions around your intentions at Amazon Autos. Can you share with me what drew Amazon into the automotive retail space and why?
So what we do at Amazon is we invent on behalf of customers. That is something that is core to the Amazon DNA. And we are constantly looking for new business opportunities where we believe that the customer experience could be improved. Automotive was one of those opportunities that we have looked at, and we have found that this has been accelerated, by the way, during the pandemic. We found that the customer willingness to buy a big purchase online really has accelerated. And this is somewhere where we thought we could add a lot of value for customers. And we can also add a lot of value for dealers, which have traditionally not been part of an e-commerce business, right? Dealers are not used to doing a whole retail transaction online. And we thought we can bring simplicity to both customers and dealers as part of this automotive marketplace. And so that's what drew us to the opportunity. What made it, what's kind of sealed the deal, if you will, with us is that we also saw the revenue opportunity for Amazon, which really comes from advertising. We saw that there was a lot of advertising spend, of course, from OEMs, car manufacturers and brands, but also from dealers as well, in lots of different digital channels. And we saw that there's an opportunity to help both car manufacturers and brands and dealers with a more efficient, full funnel marketing product that Amazon could provide as part of the Amazon Autos e-commerce experience. And so when we saw those two things together, both the consumer trends of buying online, as well as the market opportunity in automotive advertising, we thought this would be a really good business to start to make progress in.
Okay, so if I just heard you correctly, you said advertising's revenue stream in this transaction is through the advertising, not through the gross profit of a vehicle or anything that the dealer uses as their revenue stream.
That's absolutely right. We don't take anything from the transaction. We have two revenue streams. There's a nominal listing fee for the dealer. And that really is there to help us cover our software operating costs. But where we really expect to make money is we expect the dealers to find this to be such an effective marketing channel that they advertise with us. And we feel the same way for OEMs as well.
Okay, great. So, there's been speculation for years about Amazon's automotive ambitions. And based on Amazon history, isn't your preferred method to sell directly to a consumer without a middleman, such as a dealer? What made you choose this particular dealer participation approach?
I want to clear up a few things. Amazon actually has a huge marketplace business. We have a very big seller presence on Amazon. So this is a marketplace model is not something that's new to us. And specifically in automotive, dealers, for a traditional brand are the sellers of record. They are absolutely necessary to the transaction. It's a very complex sale and requires the expertise of dealers. In addition to that, the dealer customer relationship has longevity. A customer comes back to that dealer for servicing, comes back to that dealer when they're ready to buy their next car, and that is something we wanted to protect as well. And finally, just pure economics. We didn't want to have the holding costs of a lot on our balance sheet, and cars cost a lot of money. So that's something that dealers do already, and we think they do that well. And we wanted more to be there to provide the convenience and simplicity of e-commerce to the end customer, and also help dealers become e-commerceified, if that's a word, to help sell the vehicles that they already have.
So you're not interested in holding any of this real estate with the showrooms and the service departments and any of that, and the every OEM's requirement to reimage your facility every 10 years?
We were not.
Okay.
I think that's been a really good decision that we made at the onset of this.
Okay, that's good to hear. So can you take us through and the Amazon Autos experience from a consumer or customer's perspective?
Yeah, so it's one of the values of Amazon that the customer already comes to Amazon for a lot of their shopping needs. And so automotive is another category that a customer could purchase from Amazon. So a customer comes to Amazon, they put, whatever is their search term in the search bar, and let's say it's a Hyundai Elantra. They can search for those cars. They can see listings from dealerships that are local to them. We bound the radius of what they see. They can get a firm valuation on their trade-in that they can roll into the part of their deal. They can check out online. They can apply for credit. They can lease. They can, of course, pay in cash. They can do that whole transaction online with the firm trade-in valuation, and then go to the dealer for that end pickup experience. Now, if they had a trade-in, they'll also be able to just make sure that the valuation they got, the condition of the car is accurate at that dealership. But that whole end-to-end transaction becomes very convenient for the customer because they can do it from the comfort of their home. We find that customers are mostly browsing and transacting with Amazon Autos in the after hours, right? Like after work, 6 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. tends to be the really hot time to buy a car.
Well, let's hope so. They're supposed to be working the other times, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's the end of the day. The kids are in bed. Now they can sit on the couch and kind of finish up that car transaction. So we want to meet customers where they are. They then schedule the pickup at the dealership, and they go to the dealership for the fun part, right? The dealership gets to do here's the delivery of the new car. And here's the relationship that they're going to establish with the customer to make that an enduring relationship for car ownership.
Okay, so you just talked about kind of the customer experience. Um, you talked about a number of things that the dealer does through the Amazon, how do I want to call it, the Amazon model. Let's talk about it from a partnering, how a dealership partners with Amazon Autos and what their perspective is and how does that all work?
Yes, from a dealership perspective, the dealer essentially becomes a seller on the marketplace. And a dealership signs up with us as a seller. They list, we do an integration where essentially we get their inventory feed. And they have to price that inventory, of course, for Amazon. And when there's a transaction, the dealer on the back end has to hold to some SLAs, service level agreements, right, in terms of period of time to get back to that customer with the contracts. The part about, credit applications, that's all handled online, but at the end, there's still, as you know, in a lot of states, like there's wet signatures that need to happen. Not everything can be done fully digitally online. So the dealer is really responsible for holding that part of it. And the dealer is responsible for, of course, the end delivery of the car. And then they kind of sort of mark it as like, look, we sold it on Amazon, and the customers come picked it up. We hope, and we have built a channel for dealers that should be super efficient, where there is overhead in the setup, but once it's going, it should be they're looking at their inventory, they're looking at pricing, but the actual getting customers through the door, helping them understand the transaction, that all gets done online, and it should be a really simple sale for dealers at the end of it.
Okay, so I hope I don't go into too much detail here, but when you talk about the dealer sets the price, so they put the vehicle out for their inventories, they got a list of vehicles in their inventories that they're gonna try to sell on Amazon. They set the price for that vehicle?
That's absolutely right. Dealers set the
Okay,
price for the vehicle, and they choose which vehicles they are selling on Amazon.
okay. So what about when the customer comes and picks up the vehicle? How does that work? I'm assuming the dealer can't negotiate anything different at that point.
At that point, the deal is set. So the
Okay,
customer chooses, how they want to pay, and they choose the protection products that they want to add to it. And that whole deal gets finalized online. And when the customer comes in, they sign a few sheets of paper. There's still some wet signatures there.
okay,
Customers can choose to do we call it an acceptance test drive, right? If they haven't gone to test drive the car already, or maybe that particular car they haven't kind of looked closely at, they get to do that as well. And that's the vehicle delivery. There's, of course, manufacturer guidelines, as you know, on how
right.
that vehicle delivery happens and which check boxes and which apps need to be downloaded by whom. That all still happens, right, at the dealership. But what we want is, we want what can be the more contentious parts of car buying to happen online, for that to be a really smooth transaction, and for the dealer to get like a really happy and excited customer coming in with whom they can build that long-term relationship.
What about some of the ancillary products that a dealer is going to sell, like your F&I products providing a financing source for the customer, various insurance products, the extended service contracts, different protection packages. How does that all work through that deal transaction?
Yeah, so it's a great timely question. So to date, we have been working with, as you know, Hyundai as our launch partner, and
Mhm.
so we enabled financing through Hyundai Motor Finance, or Hyundai Capital, right, as a captive. So from a finance perspective, dealers can mark up the loans as they can everywhere else. On vehicle service and protection products, for now, it is just Hyundai new vehicles. And so it is the Hyundai suite of protection products that's
Okay.
available, gap insurance, vehicle service contracts. However, we are enabling a broader portfolio of those protection products as well that the customer could add on. We're also testing. We know this is an area that's important to dealers, right, in terms of their overall profitability for the deal. And so we're testing different ways of presenting those protection product information to the customer. Right, it's basically slowing down the transaction a little bit to make sure the customer fully understands what they're buying in insurance or protection products, so that we can increase the attach rate to something more akin to what dealers are seeing in store. And this will be an iterative process. We do this at Amazon all the time. We A/B test. We try to find, what we have sort of a metric in mind that we want to hit, and we're going to A/B test and try different experiences until we get there.
Okay. So, what kind of feedback, you'd mentioned Hyundai, and I believe right now Hyundai is the only brand that can be sold on Amazon, correct?
Yes, we have an exclusive launch with Hyundai and Hyundai dealers, more
Okay.
specifically, and it's with Hyundai new inventory. However, you'll see here pretty soon more brands and expansion beyond new inventory.
Okay, so you're getting to my next question was, when can we expect other manufacturers to come on board? Are you able to give me any time frame on that?
We're actively working with other manufacturers, and more importantly, we're actually working with dealers, other franchise dealers.
Okay.
And we are going to have something for you here before end of year, and that's the best time frame I can give you.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So what kind of feedback are you getting from the Hyundai dealers? What are they seeing in this process?
Yeah. So the dealers who have sold cars have lots of positive feedback. It's a really easy sale, and it's attracting customers. With millions of shoppers on Amazon every day. It's attracting a segment of customers that is net new, and it's very easy to sell to. They're just buying it online. There's no salesperson cost. You're not spending a lot of time with them. And so the dealer feedback in terms of ease of transaction for the customer and general satisfaction from the customer has been really good. However, there are some hiccups as with every new business venture. So there's a few that we're actively working on. One I already alluded to, which is how to increase product attach so that the customers, the deals that come through can be more profitable. We know that's definitely a source of dealer revenue on the front end that we want to make sure that they keep. On the other side, there's also the overall cost or time it takes, I would say, not cost, but time it takes to onboard. And this is something we want to simplify. So what I mean by onboarding is, in order for a dealer to start selling on Amazon, they need to integrate their inventory with us. We need to train their team on the various systems to use. And right now, it's not easy. It's disparate systems, and disparate parts of the dealership need to be trained on different things. And we would love to make it more streamlined, and that's what we're actively working on. So that's been a part of dealer feedback as well. It's like, hey, this channel is great in terms of the end vision you're presenting, right? If I can just kind of have this e-commerce channel available, but right now it does take a lot to onboard. And so how do we make that simpler for dealers so that it's, ideally sort of a one-click onboarding? We're never going to be quite that simple, but that is the vision,
Right.
is to make it easy.
Okay, and I guess that's what we started out this thing talking about. The goal is to make the consumer or the customer buying experience quick, easy, and enjoyable. So, so what we talked about a little bit about the dealers controlling their inventory and their customer relationship. How do you ensure that actually happens, and what can and can't the dealer do through Amazon Autos?
How do we make sure? So I just want to make sure I understand the
Okay,
question. How do we make sure
how
that
do
dealers?
how do we ensure that the dealership controls their inventory and the customer relationship? Let's start with that one.
Yeah, well, the dealerships control what inventory they list on Amazon and at what price.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. There's, we have a unique, we have we call it a cardinality. It's getting a little bit technical, but typically on Amazon, you'll see, let's say you're buying this pen. You'll see a lot of different sellers selling the same pen with listing offers against that pen. That's not how Amazon Autos works. So for each VIN, for each unique car, there's a separate page that sort of describes what that car is, including, dealer installed options. And once we get to used cars, the vehicle history and dings and dents and what have you. So each separate car has their own page. And that page is basically a dealer page of what they know about the car from the factory. We augment it with some extra data of what's been installed, and so they set the fact that page exists, the pictures around it, the fact that inventory exists, that dealer is wholly in control of, and they absolutely set the price of the car, of that unique car. And so we think that that's how people think about car purchase. It's not a pen. It's not, I can't substitute one car for another. Each car is unique. And that's how we've designed the experience. So hopefully that answers like the question about dealership control. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So my other question was, what can a dealer do through Amazon Autos and what can't they do? We talked about changing the car deal after they've signed it through Amazon. The consumer, they can't come back and negotiate. The dealership can't come back and negotiate a different deal when the consumer comes to pick the vehicle up. So are there other things that dealers should be aware of that say, hey, you know what, this is the done deal and this is what you have to offer the customer? If I don't know what products you all have available to be offered on Amazon, but if there is a product that or a service that the dealership offers in-house that Amazon currently doesn't provide through Amazon Autos, are they able to talk to the consumer at the time of delivery and say, we have this service as well if you're interested in acquiring this?
Yeah. Okay. So I think I understand your question. So right now, the deal for the customer includes obviously the car they're going to buy, the trade-in that they have, how they want to pay for it, and the products that they want to add to it, right? The gap insurance or vehicle service contracts or others. What we don't yet support is, for example, Mike, I noticed you used to work at a Ford dealership. So Ford has a lot of vehicle accessories you can add on to your F-150. We don't support is dealers selling those accessories as part of the deal. Sorry, if you want to add a roof rack, if a customer wants to add a roof rack, you can't, for now, buy that as part of the deal. We want to get there, but it's not yet there. Similarly, there's lots of brands for which that's true. If there are additional other services that a dealer has outside of what they're listing on Amazon, we don't support that as well. And so it's all on the roadmap. How we're going about prioritization is really prioritizing like what's important to dealers. And we heard, where are the sources of profitability for dealers? And we're kind of going down that list to say, here are the add-ons that you're going to be able to sell and when those are going to get released. What dealers cannot do today, and this is part of our core value to the end customer, is change the deal at the dealership. Yeah. Because the customer came to Amazon because they wanted the transparency and the convenience. And we think it's a trust buster to then, take apart the deal once the customer gets there and then upsell them. It's exactly what the customer wanted to avoid. The customer wanted, the upsell can happen just through a digital environment. The caveat to that is if something is different. So for example, if the customer represented the trade-in as whatever condition, and they bring the car in and it turns out that's not the case, right? They said it's a smoke-free
That doesn't
car.
happen.
If that actually happens, and that's substantial, right? That can be a substantial change in the valuation of the car, of the trade. Yes, like then the customer and the dealer can agree, like, okay, well now this deal needs to look different, and the online deal gets canceled, and this all gets kind of done a little bit offline, as it would standard as standard procedure in a dealership today. That can happen, or if something else like I was just handling this sort of like customer escalation. Actually, this customer wanted it was a cross-state registration issue, and the dealer just could not get a hold of the customer beforehand, and it ended up needing to like a little more sort of in-store revision, more on the paperwork, less on the terms, but the taxes and fees, as you know, by state are different depending on where you're registering. That happens as well. And of course, the dealer can kind of revise that deal. But we expect those instances to be rare. And for the most part, we expect that the deal remains the same as the one that the customer saw online.
Okay. So what happens if a customer goes online, orders a vehicle, but wants the bed liner, wants running boards? We're talking the Ford F-150, and wants to put on some LED lights and stuff like that. How can that happen if it's not offered on Amazon? Can it happen at the dealership?
It can today, but it ends up not getting rolled into their loan. So I think that's
Got it.
what we want to solve, is knowing that a customer wants to add the bed liner and lots of other accessories to their F-150 and to their Subaru Forester and to what have you. We want to make sure that that can be part of their financing, because that's an advantage,
Okay.
right? But today, what would happen if they wanted those accessory items? They get to the dealership, it'd be a separate transaction, maybe on
Okay.
the credit card. Yeah,
Okay. And then obviously wouldn't go through the financing option that they did with the vehicle itself.
exactly.
Okay, all right, perfect. It's good to know that there's a way that they can the consumer can get some of those accessories after the deal is solidified in Amazon Autos. So
Absolutely. We don't want to prevent those. What we don't want is sort of, every every Amazon deal that comes through being seen as an upsold opportunity. But if the customer wants to buy things, I don't think we, want to prevent them from buying extra things with the
okay,
dealership.
all right. So currently Amazon Autos only does new vehicles, and I think recently it's been mentioned in automotive news podcasts that you may start or you have ambitions to do used vehicles as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so let me start with how we think about any sort of retail business or any sort of marketplace business. We believe firmly in selection. We want to make sure customers um, find whatever it is they're looking for. So used vehicles being 2/3 of vehicle transactions annually, we believe is a really good indicator that a lot of customers are buying used vehicles. And so that is something we absolutely want to offer.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a little trickier with used vehicles than it will be with new.
I absolutely agree with you there, Mike. And here's how we're taking this approach is we want to protect customer trust. So a lot of the reason Amazon is a brand customers trust. We want to protect that trust, and we want to find ways to protect that trust with used vehicles. And so we're careful here to make sure that our entry or the types of used vehicles we sell or sort of the package around it is one that protects end customer trust, because as you know, there's a lot of variance in condition. There's a lot of variance in provenance, and we want to be careful there to make sure that customers have a good experience. And I think the dealers who are forward thinking have the same perspective, right? They're not there to kind of burn the customer on a single transaction. The goal is a long-term customer relationship, and we care equally about reputation and trust.
Okay, perfect. Well, I think I'm going to ask you my last question, Fan, and then I'll let you go. So finally, what would you say to dealers who are watching or listening to this and wondering, should I partner with Amazon Autos? I think I know what your answer is going to be, but I'd like to hear it from you.
So Amazon wants to work with dealers. I think that's the key message to take away is that the Amazon Autos business model does not work without dealers. We want to work with dealers for dealers to list their inventory, price their inventory, and sell their inventory on Amazon. We believe we are a great e-commerce channel for dealers. We're a really efficient e-commerce channel for dealers, and we also believe that dealers should advertise with Amazon. I think that, I think that forward-thinking dealers see this already, that there is a great consumer movement towards comfort with buying more and more things online. And cars should not be any different. And so dealers who want to take advantage of that trend, that kind of demographic population trend, I believe will want to work with us. And dealers who are as obsessed with end customers as we are should want to work with us because I think we're going to go build great experiences together. So that's my message to dealers, and I hope the dealers who are listening to this who feel that this message of you know e-commerce and customer trust and customer simplicity and convenience really resonates with them, reach out to us and we can start working together.
All right, perfect. Well, that concludes this month's episode of Up to Speed. Fan, I want to thank you for being with us today and giving us some insights into Amazon Autos and your role or its role in the dealership space, offering retail dealerships another avenue to provide consumers with their transportation needs. To our audience, thank you for joining us today, and be sure to tune in to next month's episode. We'll be starting a series on AI in the retail dealership space. So, Fan, thank you. Very much appreciate some good stuff here. I hope dealers can take some things away from this.
Thanks, Mike. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, we look forward to seeing you on our next Up to Speed episode. Again, we arrive in your mailbox the third Wednesday of every month. You can also visit our website to view past episodes, and also soon visit us on YouTube. Until next month, make it a great day.